Preparing to go live. We are live. Okay.
Yay.
So I know, right? Sometimes tech happens, but we just got to keep moving forward. So, hey, everybody,
Just keep
thanks for
clicking
joining us
buttons.
live. I have with me here Thomas Ballard. He prefers to be called Tom, but he lets me call him Thomas. So I want to do some meet the groundwater guy, Thomas Ballard. Imagine driving a car for 300,000 miles without an oil change. Sounds like a disaster waiting to happen, right? The same goes for water wells, care, maintenance to stay in top shape. That's where Thomas Ballard comes in. He's the founder of Southeast, help me out, Thomas, Hydrology?
Hydrogeology.
Hydrogeology. I feel like I was so close. PLC and Groundwater Academy. Thomas is on a mission to help small and medium water districts optimize their water supply wells with deep expertise in groundwater chemistry, well rehabilitation, and performance tracking. He doesn't believe in one size fits all solutions. Instead, he crafts custom strategies that save time, money, and resources, all while reassuring communities have access to clean, reliable water. That's very important. Beyond consulting, Thomas is passionate about education and training, equipping water professionals with the knowledge and the need to keep wells functioning at their best. His ability to blend science, problem solving, and community leadership makes him a true innovator in the field. It's true. So I'm glad you're here to join us live and you're able to meet Thomas Ballard. Thomas, how's your day been going?
So far, so good. We are awash in baby goats, like I was telling you earlier. So it is kidding season. But here I am. So
I like that you have baby goats.
Yeah, we can.
Go ahead.
As if I got enough stuff to do, but yeah, we can dive in, and I'm here at your disposal, and we can chat about any number of topics that you want to talk about. So ask away.
It's not on my list, but I'm nosy. Your time management skills are amazing. You keep bees, you have baby goats, you have a farm. How do you manage all of these things?
If you only saw, it's a kind of a disaster. I'm behind on a lot of things, but it's, there's some tools, and we can dive into the technology. I'm not afraid to take care of or take advantage of technology. So there's actually a new tool that came out. It's kind of like a Kanban sort of tool, but it's called Blitzit that I picked up, and it's really handy because it'll give you a countdown timer. You can put your tasks in, so between that and a calendar, and regular alarms, and just making sure that you got it scheduled is what's important, and blocking out the time is really I try to specifically block out some time, and that helps a lot. And you got to have slack time in there too, because not everything goes according to plan. You may have something scheduled for an hour and it actually takes you 2 hours. So you got to build in a little bit of slack time too. So that's it. We do our chores around here, and sometimes the phone's ringing off the hook during the day. So sometimes I'm working into the night too, because the phone's not ringing usually. So that helps a lot. So that's kind of how we muddle our way through, I guess.
Time blocking.
Yeah.
I've never really got into it because I'm always concerned that it's going to interfere with my flow state. So, but that could be another excuse of my procrastination one kick in.
So, you got to be a little flexible on that too, to have everything on the schedule, you're going to spend so much time this day creating videos and, getting, whatever scripts or backup material you need to do this video, as opposed to, writing reports for clients, client work and taking phone calls and that type of thing. So, just blocking that stuff out, and the thing is, we make appointments with people to talk to them. So, and we manage to schedule around that. So you kind of think of it, time blocks as the same thing. You just think of it as that's a bunch of appointments in your calendar. You make an appointment with yourself, as they say. So that's one way to do it.
Boy, I like that. I never thought about it until you said it. So I got a few questions here that I actually took the time to write. And I put them on screen. So how Thomas uses cutting edge technology to track groundwater challenges. But before we get into that one, I like that you're into tech. You've been to school for so many things, but you still make time for continuing learning. You still make time to be up on the new tech. Is that what? Go ahead.
Yeah, if you're not learning, you're probably dying because you're either moving forward or you're falling behind because there is no standing still, especially with the rapid pace of, we're seeing with the AI, the rapid development of AI. I use AI a lot in my work, and I have trouble keeping up with all the innovations and everything that's going on. And so you really got to, have your special areas and stay up on those things, because if we're not learning these things and we're not staying ahead, then we're falling behind, and then you're not doing the best job for your clients. So that's really what it comes down to is, how do we do the best job for our clients? And that's by staying ahead of things. Now, as they say, an expert is somebody that knows 10% more than the rest of the folks. So you don't have to, if you're an expert, you don't have to have, be head and shoulders above everybody else. It's having that unique knowledge and also taking that and helping people kind of figure out how to apply those things to their particular situation. And every case is different. So that's part of it. And, but by staying up on the tech, is a big thing these days. We're able to help our clients stay ahead of things and, basically apply the latest technology in an efficient manner to kind of make things better for them, more efficient as it were, because there's a lot of ways that, I deal mainly with the water utilities industry. So there's a lot of ways we can apply AI there. And I deal with a lot of the smaller people. So they're what we call resource constrained, both in terms of finances and staff. But the technology we're seeing is really getting to the point where anybody can use it. Sometimes we got to show them how to use it and help them set it up. But it's approachable, it's affordable enough, and it can really save them a lot of time and effort. And if you're resource constrained, especially on the staff side of things, then any efficiencies you can get there by using tech is really going to help. And I'm talking specifically about water utilities, which is my business, but this applies to pretty much any business out there, because most small businesses are probably going to be resource constrained in some way. And so whatever you can do to leverage technology to get past those resource constraints is going to improve the business and probably improve your bottom line.
Would you tell me what kind of AI are you using in what you do with well water and well water research, or AI used in groundwater research?
Well, yes, and I use kind of most of the big ones. I use ChatGPT and Perplexity and Claude, and there's a new one out there, DeepSeek, and there's Twitter has one too called Grok that's actually pretty good, and so I use all those. Some are part of it is just enough experience to know which is which ones are better in certain situations. Like Claude might be better at writing certain things than others. So knowing which tool to use and when is, then they tend to leapfrog each other a little bit. So that's part of the staying up thing I was talking about earlier. So I use those, but there's some other tools that you can leverage, stuff for graphics. I do, trading as well. And I kind of go beyond water wells these days and really get into small water utility management. So a lot of the trading stuff we'll use, we'll research things. We got, our source documents that we use and a lot of reference material. We can go through those a lot faster with AI, but then using things like, napkin AI, for instance, to create charts and graphs that go with our presentations very quickly and easily. And that's just one example. I know you use, Gamma out there. That's for creating PowerPoint slides. And there's several like that. We can generate a lot of images. I find a lot of AI images leave a lot to be desired. Unless you spend tons of time crafting the prompts, but really what we're dealing with in my business, and I think what a lot of small businesses are dealing with, is applying the AI technology to their specific case. And it's going to be kind of a knowledge-based type of thing. Doing the illustrations and all that stuff is fun, and doing AI generated movies is fun. But really it's the knowledge base. And that boils down to knowing which AI resource to use and how to, and these days, and I think this is going to get better, is how to craft the prompt to get decent information. I'll just make it a little aside here and say those of us who are in the content creation business know that there's a lot of people turning out a lot of garbage out there that is just generated by AI with a simple prompt. And it turns out that it's just kind of it sounds generic. It sounds AI generated. You can fix that to a certain degree by crafting a good prompt. And then you take that information, you make it your own. It's better than just spewing out whatever AI gives you and dumping that out there in the way. It's kind of diluting the whole, quality material out there in the internet. You, as a small business operator and solopreneur even, that are creating content, can do better than that. And you're going to stand out because a lot of the generic AI generated stuff just does not stand out. It sounds like everything else. So your job these days is to create something that's unique and different and stands up above, what everybody else is creating. And that's the same for trading. Trading, and I'm into that space as well. Trading is changing a lot too, because what is trading, except a lot of times asking questions and learning about certain things. If you can go and pick up your phone and just do a voice call to ChatGPT and ask a question and get an answer, then how do you compete with that as somebody that's trading professional folks to do things? So, and the answer is you make it more personable, you fine tune it to them, you understand the personality, the persona of the person you're dealing with, and you can fine tune that. Whereas the generic answer that ChatGPT gives you would be a lot more generic. So that's how you stand out.
One of my favorite things that you've done so far is when you made, I think it was a theme song for water wells utilities.
Oh yeah,
that was great.
That was fun. And I don't remember what the name. I got it bookmarked somewhere. I don't use it that much, but it would generate a song for you, and I did one about water utilities. It was kind of funny, but I don't use that much. Yeah.
So in theory, You could take like one of your transcripts of one of your trainings to people learn about what you do because it's a song. We remember jingles because they're catchy. We remember things a lot longer because of the song. So I thought pretty spiffy that you did that.
Yeah, you can do that. That's for sure. Some of this stuff is just fun, though. I mean, testing the limits and seeing what you could do.
One more question about the technology.
Sure.
What programs do you prefer to use for your training, or what apps?
I tend to use, well, I'm generally Mac based, although I have a PC around here. I'm generally Mac based, so my answer is going to be specific to that. For a lot of my streaming online that I'll either record or stream online, I use Ecamm Live, which is, got a lot of versatility, but actually I use Descript a lot too. I used to use it for editing, but they actually bought out Squadcast, so you can actually do broadcasts right in Descript. And now that program gets dumped right into Descript, so you can do all the editing and stuff right in Descript with that, something that's already been recorded. So I'm going that way more. I'm kind of used to Ecamm. There's another one out there called QCAM Presenter that looks like a good tool. I'm still kind of getting used to it, and I've had some glitches I've had to work through, but mainly presentations type stuff. Now I will go into like Canva and generate slides and run through those. I mean, I've seen people use Notion templates, go online, go live, and then have a Notion template that they just kind of scroll through. And there's some different ways to present. But what you don't want to do, and it's real easy with things like AI too, is if you're generating your content with AI, is to, do the death by PowerPoint type things. And I just went to a conference a few weeks ago where I saw the worst PowerPoint presentations that I have ever seen. They violated pretty much every possible rule of doing PowerPoint presentations. And so you really have to be, once again, it's going back to a lot of the generic stuff that's being generated by AI out there. You really want to have something that stands out, that's to the point, and that people can get something out of and get a lot of value for their time invested. And it's not just clickbaity, but it's real information. And I think that's really, really important. And that's how you're going to stand out in a world where you can just tell ChatGPT to generate you a whole presentation on X topic, and it will, but if you're putting the time and thought into that process and really producing unique content with the help of the research you get from AI, but then making your own and giving it that kick that really makes it personal and informative and goes beyond the generic to something, above that, you're going to stand out even in a world where people can, generate stuff, at the click of a button, but it's just not going to be as good. AI has not gotten to that point yet. It may in another year or two, but right now, you want to keep turning out content that stands out and is unique and not just that generic AI stuff.
I completely understand and agree. You can put out anything that chat says by itself. I have to verify what chat says is true, because sometimes chat messes with me and I call them out. I'm like, chat, you messed with me. And it's like, I got this from the internet and I thought it would go with. I'm like, nah, don't do that.
Yeah. Well, and we can talk about training AIs on your own data. So with the introduction, ChatGPT introduced the custom GPTs, and Perplexity has something similar, and Claude now has projects. You have Notebook LM that you can hone in on a specific topic and upload documents. And Notebook LM, for instance, is a great example. That's a Google product, and I didn't mention it earlier, but it will only draw from your specific documents that you uploaded. So it's your own little database right there that only draws from the documents you uploaded to it. It doesn't go out to the web. So you are then taking good solid information, because a general query on the web with an AI is going to pick up, whatever, it's going to blend it all together. Even, this fact opposes this fact, and, and it tries to blend it all together for you. And that's really, the large language model, it sounds great in theory because you're digesting all this information, but where you have conflicting information is the problem. If you have some specific things like we do in the water industry, if you have specific tasks, you have equipment manuals, you have processes, best management practices, SOPs, standard operating procedures, for instance, you load those into your database. And now you can query that specifically, and you're not going out to the web. You're querying your own database and your own information. It's going to give you the answers a lot quicker than trying to page through a manual and remembering, where you put that 3-ring binder, with this particular bit of information. Now it's all in the system. You're drawing from that database alone. And that then is the knowledge base that stays with the company or the business or the utility, in my case. And you don't have to worry then about people aging out and the person that's the keeper of the knowledge is now 70 and getting ready to retire, and you're wondering what the heck are we going to do, because he's got all the information up here in his head. Now that's out on paper, and it's in a AI database that is specific to that utility. You're retaining that knowledge and information. We can go so much farther. I work with a guy that does videos of equipment, how equipment operates. Every piece of equipment has a QR code on it. You can go up with your cell phone, you can scan that QR code, it'll bring up a video of how to operate that equipment. So you can tie those back into your AI database too. And now you have something that's really specific. You got operating videos on how to run the equipment. Your knowledge base that is retained. You can bring in somebody new. They can get up to speed, 2-3 times as fast as they would have otherwise. So that's kind of, a unique way it gets used, but it there's a lot of promise in that area.
One of my favorite episodes of Groundwater Talk Live, you had this book. I think you said it was discontinued in like 1993, and you really liked it. It was one of your favorites. I'm thinking that's something that could be uploaded to Notebook LM. I'm sorry if I'm not correct the date.
Yeah, no, that's Groundwater and Wells second edition, which is kind of the classic. It's a classic. It's out of print. If you can find them, they're like $500. So, yeah, I mean, stuff like that, if you're able to scan that and get that into a database too, I mean, I'll create things like for clients. One of the things that's really big for water utilities is what we call asset management. And that's really, a water well is an asset, a storage tank is an asset, a valve is an asset. Everything, there's a lot of assets, all the distribution pipelines. These are all assets that have specific conditions, specific lifespans. Now we're analyzing, not only how to operate them, but now we're taking and using AI to do the predictive maintenance analysis, and when is the failure, what is the likelihood of failure? And then we're also looking at what are the consequences of failure? So that's your asset management plan. So we can replace our critical assets well before they fail and keep track, and do the predictive maintenance and predicting failure rates and things like that. And these are they're kind of mundane applications, but really, really important because if your valve or your pipe fails, it's usually going to be 3 a.m. on Christmas Eve. Not at a convenient time. So we want to make sure that we got that whole plan together, and you can do the predictive analysis there as part of your asset management plan. So that's just one area we apply that. So, but that's where like the books you mentioned, those all come in handy because we can put that all into our database and pull that information. So it's there's a little bit of time getting it in there, but if it's not in digital form already, then you got to figure out how to get it in there. But it's really worthwhile. So
I'm a fan of your show. So what I really like about it is that I feel like you get training while you're live, and it's free. But I know you have like a Groundwater Academy. So how can we go from watching your free show on YouTube to Groundwater Academy?
Groundwater Academy is really designed for water system operators and managers to dive into the weeds on the technical details. So we'll do some shows on Groundwater Talk Live where we'll talk about say the asset management plan I was talking about, or the capital improvement plan, and we'll get into the details, but the Groundwater Academy is going to go and dive into a lot more details, give you the hands-on stuff. We're going to provide spreadsheets and help you maintain those spreadsheets on how to manage your entire system. And so we go from really, most small water systems now are paper or spreadsheets at best. So we're trying to transition everybody from a paper-driven system where you're throwing stuff in folders and filing it away, never to be seen again, to a whole data-driven management system. That's really important because in the water industry and like so many other places, we produce a lot of data. So how do we process that data? A lot of times we look at it, we're in compliance, throw it in a file, don't look at it again, like I mentioned. And we can use that data now that we've already had, that we've already paid for, get that into the system. And now we can do predictive maintenance with that data because now we understand what our trends are. So that's really what we're doing. We're giving people the big picture on Groundwater Talk Live and some specifics. And I get inquiries all the time, from the videos there, but for the really hands-on stuff and the applications and stuff, that's where Groundwater Academy comes in. And we also have, if you really want to drive in deeper, we have Water Masters Mastermind, which is, 6 to 8 people. We take them through a 12-month journey where we cover like 15 points of management. So it's not only the training, it's also hands-on, it's meetings, it's sharing information between different water districts. So it's super, super hands-on. And like I mentioned earlier, you're giving people actionable and applicable techniques and processes that they can use. And that makes you stand apart from the generic AI-driven stuff that's out there, and other, training programs. So, I've taken training from others and I've found a lot of errors in some of their stuff, but and it happens, but it's important that if you're teaching people, especially the resource constrained people, that you show them how they can do this stuff, how they can be more efficient, where it doesn't cost them a lot of money. And that's the challenge. That's really, the Groundwater Academy and Water Masters Mastermind is really more the hands-on, specific to you type of stuff. And so that's where we go there. But there's a lot of valuable information on the show. I mean, we show you a lot of stuff. You can put everything together, and if you wanted to do it yourself, then there's sufficient information there to do that. We kind of assemble everything, in a nice, neat package at Groundwater Academy. So
I like that. So when you say hands-on, can we come hang out with you to learn, or is it all online?
it's mostly online, but here's the deal. Obviously traveling and stuff, and I'm a consultant too, so I'll travel out to different places, but obviously travel time costs money. So if you want that on-site experience, then there's going to be some charges. Obviously, you pay $200 for an online class as opposed to paying money for me to drive across several states to come and meet you on site. So, but those options are available. It's and I do that. I got to go. I'm in Middle Tennessee, and I got to do some stuff for Virginia here in a couple of weeks, and then I got some stuff in California I need to do. So, hop in your car and drive, or hop on a plane, but it's you got to know it's going to be more expensive if you want one-on-one on-site type of training as opposed to the online stuff. So there's room for both, really, and for people that need that on-site, helping them out on-site, we got that option available too. There's just more limits to. I'm a one-person show right now, so I'm a solopreneur. So my schedule is my schedule. So you can, so you have to work it in.
One of the most fascinating things that I've learned from you, from your show, is that when I pay for clean water, I'm not getting 2 hydrogens and an oxygen. And I didn't find it out until you told me on the show, and I was so sad. And I was thinking, could I ask for a refund from my my water bill? And you told me no, because they only allow so much stuff to go through. And I'm like, dang. But the things that I learned from you is like a lot, and you give this information away for free. So just know that it's appreciated, and I know I'm not the only one who appreciate that you give out this free training.
Well, thank you. Yeah, we tried, and like I say, I mean, is water system operators, managers, geologists, and engineers as well, and I've had some inquiries from people just ran across my videos just with a well on their private property, so and I try to help them out where I can, and give them some advice, but it's so you give that away because it's good for folks, and some people, heck, if you can get all the answers you need right there, then so be it. There's going to be people that are going to need more, and that's where Groundwater Academy and Water Masters Mastermind comes in, because you're going to need some hand-holding, and the thing with small water utilities in particular is a lot of times the board is local folks that don't necessarily have a lot of trade. They're not engineers, they're not geologists, so they may be running a business in town, and they're also chairman of the local water utility. So those are the folks that we do deeper dives on because they need some expertise. And so my goal is always to be, a trusted advisor, because people need that. There's a lot of bad advice floating out there, and especially if you don't have the experience to discern what's good and what's bad, then having a trusted advisor to really help you work your way through these things is really important. So my role, consultant, but really trusted advisor is where I want to be as far as my relationship with my clients.
Don't forget water sommelier, because you got to know it tastes good.
Yeah.
So, when I watch Groundwater Talk Live, I go to the academy. Is it a certain order? Do I need to go through the academy before I can get to the mastermind? Or can I just watch the show and then go to the mastermind?
The mastermind is a little bit separate, and that's kind of really where the emphasis is right now. The classes are that the mastermind is going to be a systematic approach. So we'll call it systematic utility management. And it's going to go through 15 different elements of water system management. The Groundwater Academy is more a la carte type classes. So some are recorded, some are live, and that's part of it. And like I say, it's designed for water system operators and managers. Generally, those people are going to have a license to run the system, an operator's license, and they're going to need technical training in their water system management and operation, so many contact hours per year. And that's what that's designed to do, is fulfill that. So it's going to be technical to that point where you're going to get the most out of it if you're a water system operator. Yeah, that's, I mean, your average homeowner probably is not going to want to dive into, your average well owner probably not going to want to dive into the esoterics of a asset management plan and determining criticality of assets and predictive maintenance and those types of things. So that's really where it is. But for the general person, there's plenty of free information there on Groundwater Talk Live. So the Groundwater Guy channel. So
like, just because I can drive doesn't mean I want to take up auto mechanics.
Right.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. That's pretty much it. Yeah.
Okay. So you're also into you're on the school board. You're into education. I knew you were into education because you have so many training programs, and you teach me every Thursday at what is it? Is it 12 Eastern or is it 12 Central?
Noon Central, or no, 11 Central. So
11 Central. So
yeah, we tried
12 Eastern my time.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Okay.
Although we've been doing some more videos that are not live, so because sometimes people can't make the live, and I still want to get them on, so we're doing some more recorded stuff so as well. So that's part of it. But I found that that's probably a good time for most folks. So
let me be nosy. Do you prefer pre-recorded or live?
I like the live myself, but a lot of people don't. So, see, I don't mind. You just learn to roll with the punches because, eventually, pretty much everything is going to happen to you if you've gone live. You're not going to have any sound. Your video is going to be wonky. Some technical glitch or hiccup. And it's just going to happen. You learn to roll with the punches and deal with it. And I don't mind that because I like the spontaneity of live, and then people can ask questions at the same time, so I like that. But a lot of people don't. They prefer to, for several reasons, they prefer to do the recorded just because the idea of being live on camera just, freaks them out. And also, it's just kind of a time thing too, They just may not have time at the time you're going live, and so you give them some choices because the main thing is we're getting the information out there to folks that are interested in that topic. And I would say one thing for small business owners out there is that there's an old saying that says the riches are in the niches. That really is true, because I see too many people trying to come up and really create content and a business that's going to be that everybody is going, you're going to have this really wide ranging audience. That seldom works. especially for a small business, focus on a niche. And water utilities are my niche. Small water utilities, actually, I say less than 3,000 connections. So I really nail that niche down, and that's where my focus is. And I think that if you choose your niche wisely and do some background and some research on it, you have a lot better chance of success than you do trying to be all things to all people. That just is not a good approach. And you and I know that, but a lot of people just say, well, why would I want to limit my audience? And it's a fair question, but the problem is they were never your audience to start with. So you want to focus on the people that are most likely to buy, and that's where focusing in on a niche is really going to get you to, because you're creating content, products, services that are specific for that niche, and that's going to be your best route to success, really.
How did you come up with your niche? 3,000 less utilities hookups. I think I said it right. I'm not sure.
Yeah, less than 3,000 connections, and a connection is, the connection to your house on a water system. So there's probably a water meter there or something. So that's the point where water utilities start to be smaller water utilities. So it's not like City of Los Angeles. You're dealing with smaller water utilities that are generally going to be resource constrained, like I mentioned earlier, staff-wise, financial-wise. And so the ability to come up with innovative solutions for them while not breaking the bank or expending unnecessary employee time is really vital. So, and it's a little bit different. You don't have the resource. You can't do the things you would do if you were a big water district with lots of money. So that's the thing, is you got to think about how is the best way to implement this task we know is critical that needs to be done without breaking the bank and still get it done, and that's where a lot of these small water utilities, they've done things, the way they've always done it. And it really ends up being, you're stuck in a rut. For instance, you're not looking at new and innovative things that could save you a lot of time. And they say, well, we're just really small. We don't have much money. So we can't innovate like that. And I'm happy to say the technology is now there where they can. They just need somebody to show them how to do it or push them in the right direction. And that's kind of what we're trying to accomplish, is making water utilities more efficient. And that rule applies to small businesses in general, is you can take that same pattern and fit that into whatever your business is and really move that forward. So that's what's important, is you always got to be trying to think outside the box a little bit. I know that's kind of a well-worn statement, but it really is true these days where we've had these rapid technological advances, and you can grab onto these things that are going to save you a lot of time and money. And it's worth spending a little bit of time to learn it, have somebody guide you, and then you're off to the races. And so that's where I fit in, I guess.
Understand. I wanted to ask you, how'd you get into being on the school board in your county?
Well, the county mayor, who was coming out of the job and actually moving on to the school board, actually talked me into running for school board. So I did. And he talked me into it. I did, and we took advantage of the technology. I did a lot of videos, and same type of approach, really. When you think about it, it's explanatory videos. Here's how this works. Here's how the laws work. Here's what you're required to do, and this is what it takes to take kids and put them on the path to employment. And the different options for different kids. college isn't necessarily for everybody. Trade school can be a viable option. And we did a lot of videos that we put out there on social media. And that's kind of what I think carried me over, because people watched the videos and they saw I was giving them useful information, explaining things to them that they might not have ever had explained to them before. So,
I saw those videos and I felt like you were giving away a lot of secrets, a lot of school book secrets. Like, wow.
There are no secrets. It's all public meetings. I'm not about that here. But, it really comes down to the fact is the same principles apply whether you're working for a water utility as a consultant or you're running for school board. We're taking and giving people the information they need to make sound decisions, or in the case of the school board, understanding that the school board is working in the right direction and working with the parents to educate their kids in the proper way, because there's a lot of challenges out there with education. And parents need to be assured that their kids are getting a good education that's eventually going to lead to a good, stable lifetime of secure employment. And that's really, if you boil it down, same basic principles. Even though they seem like two totally separate things, we're applying the same principles here.
Nice. So I didn't know how the school board worked. I never really thought of looking into it until you told me that you were running. So yeah, it's public knowledge, but I didn't really think about looking into it until you told me you were running. So
yeah, it's challenging, and there's a lot of things that don't have good answers, and so we're working our way through that. And the other weird thing is that all of our meetings, all of our deliberations are right there on YouTube and open to the public and stuff. So you're discussing things and people can watch it. And so that's kind of a weird feeling, but I start the meetings with, and I am chairman now, but I start the meetings and just say, hi to the people in YouTube land and, let them know we're acknowledging they're there. And our viewership has been growing too, but.
Nice. So March 3rd, I think it's March 3rd. No, sorry, March 7th. You're going to give a talk to the Virtual Summiteers peer group on small business collaborations.
Right.
If you would, could you give us just a little bit of what that talk is? I know it's going to be about small business collaboration, but just give us a little bit of it.
Right. It's all about leveraging yourself as a small business. And sometimes I may not have the expertise, but I might know another small business, another solopreneur that has some expertise that I don't have. We can collaborate on a project and probably bring more to the table than a big nationwide consulting firm, because, look at me, I've got, a gazillion years experience, and this other person might have a lot of experience, whereas this nationwide consulting firm might have, somebody they got fresh out of college that's working on this project, and they're not going to have the knowledge base that we do. So this applies both to, service businesses like consultants. It's kind of ideal for that, but it can also apply to, like a small retail business in a rural area. There are ways to collaborate, and that's what we're going to discuss is the power of collaboration. And people who you may think of competitors may not necessarily be a competitor. It might be a teaming partner. You might both benefit from it. So you don't want to think of everybody as a competitor. You want to think about how can we strategically collaborate with other businesses to enhance our overall mission to serve our customers and give them the best possible service or product or whatever it is. So that's what we're going to talk about.
Like that. So Thomas, please tell everybody, where is your favorite social media platform? Where can people find you?
I'm generally on LinkedIn. And you can find me under Thomas Ballard on LinkedIn. That's usually a good place to get a hold of me. You can reach me. My email is tballard@sehydrogeology.com. But LinkedIn is, you can find me on LinkedIn, and I post a lot of videos to LinkedIn. You can also find me at the Groundwater Guy YouTube channel, where that's where all the videos reside. So if you're interested in water, that's a good place to look. Yeah, those are the best places to get a hold of me.
All right. Well, thank you for your time, Tom. I appreciate you being here, and everybody who's watching live. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to see Thomas again March 7th at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. That's 9 Central, and where you can hear us talk on small business collaboration.
Excellent. All right. Well, thank you very much for having me and letting me ramble on. So I will see you on the 7th.
All right.